I think one of my father's great legacies is the people that he inspired. And the generation that he inspired transformed America through civil rights, women's rights, equal justice. And they have been passed that on to their children and grandchildren. And I think he also really changed the way America looks at the world and the world looks at America. And I think that he, internationally, he is still an inspiration. And so that's something that means a very great deal to me and that we celebrate every May. This year the award is going to courageous public officials in the judicial branch and in the State Department, because we need courageous people in all branches of government. 3 justices of the Iowa Supreme Court who joined the unanimous opinion for same-sex marriage and lost their jobs, just like the people in my father's book, Profiling Courage. And Ambassador Robert Ford, the American ambassador to Syria, who has stood up for the Syrian people and their wish to have a more open and fair society. We are honoring the Iowa justices for 2 reasons. First, because of their courageous decision in favor of same-sex marriage under the Iowa Constitution, which they knew was going to cause a political backlash. And also because that backlash is an important thing for people to understand, because the bedrock of our democracy is the rule of law, and that means that we have to have an independent judiciary, judges who can make their decisions independent of the political winds that are blowing at the time. For judges to be targeted for an individual decision is really something that threatens the liberty of all Americans, and that's what happened in this case. So the award is intended to both to honor their decision and also to make people more aware of the dangers and the threats to an independent judiciary, which is something that all Americans should value. My father's, I think his greatest legacy is to inspire individuals to take responsibility for building a better future and a more democratic and just society. But Ambassador Ford has really gone out of his way to redefine the American role and the importance of courageous American diplomats to support aspirations for freedom around the world. Well, my father, there aren't so many people alive today who remember President Kennedy's time. It's really becoming part of history, but I think he continues to appeal to younger generations because his words and his inspiration were so profound. And so I think the Profiling Courage Award is a way that we take the ideals that he believed in, that each one of us has a responsibility to make this world a better place, and carry that forward into the present. That's coming up in a few weeks, so I have a little time to decide.
We recognized that the opposition would surface. We were not naive. It did not sneak up on us. We were permitted under our rules to form campaign committees. But the 3 of us up for retention made a deliberate decision. We discussed it, that we would not form campaign committees.
Efforts to intimidate the judiciary and to turn judges into politicians or theologians in robes undermine fair and impartial justice and will, over time, destroy the ability and willingness of judges to do their duty as faithful guardians of the Constitution.
brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, nieces. But I would ask all of you who I mentioned to please stand.
Had we chosen to form campaign committees and actively campaigned, we would have tacitly admitted that we were what we claimed not to be, politicians. No one appearing before a judge wants to have the feeling that the other side contributed to their campaign, and they did not.